And will we get this emailed to us, so we can refer back to it, or?
Yeah, I can actually do that here right now. Here, let me do this.
Perfect.
And I normally record these too, so what I can do is send you the recording as well.
Oh, okay.
And that way you can just kind of match the PowerPoint to the recording.
Okay.
Let's see here.
What's the average time these webinars take, Jeremy?
Normally they take about an hour and a half, but if we can, that's kind of going through and using our website. Since we're going to be using yours for an example, I think we'll probably get done sooner than that. And then if at the end, if you guys have any questions, we can definitely answer any kind of questions that you have. And then you still have the in-person one too. So that's kind of the one where we really kind of hammer down what functionality you guys need to see as far as keeping the website up to date and stuff like that.
Okay.
So the PowerPoint's coming your way. And jump back over here. Okay. And that's me. Let's see here. So we're going to talk about what WordPress is, how it works, and then updating it. And then most of the time we're going to talk about modifying your site. So adding users, the difference between posts and pages, which Cindy probably know about, and then kind of how to edit your posts and pages. We'll talk about writing titles and formatting text, and then adding links, images, and files to the site. So like adding a PDF or embedding a video and stuff like that. We'll talk about all that.
Okay.
So WordPress is an open source platform. So it's what we build your site on. It's what you log into. And open source just means that pretty much everyone, they make it available to the public for free so that different developers can get in and do different things on it. There's over 66 million websites that use WordPress. That's 18% of all the websites. And kind of the way they do it is it's installed in your hosting space. So, Tranquility's got a hosting space set up for you that's dedicated hosting for your, you can think of it as a, kind of a file cabinet that keeps your website. But the good thing about it is, since it's on the server, you can access it and change it from any computer that has internet access.
Okay.
Okay.
This is just kind of a quick diagram of how it works as far as the internet connecting. So you can just think of the internet as a bunch of different file cabinets, and pretty much the domain names are going to be the labels on the front of it, and it's going to communicate with the hosting space to tell what particular folder that domain or that label is supposed to look at. And so kind of anytime that you get into the back end of WordPress, you're actually making updates to your folder or to your database is what it's called.
Okay.
Real quick on viewing your website, just how it comes up. So the server, again, the URL tells the server kind of what file to pull up. There's code that's in the back end that you have access to, but I usually would never need to get in there to do anything. It's kind of how the programmers go in and make different functionality happen and that sort of thing. That couples with the database, which is actually the files that live on the server. And then from there, it tells the internet browser, Google or Chrome or Firefox, what to show on the front end of the computer.
Okay.
So you guys have a custom theme. If you have other WordPress websites or make other WordPress websites in the future, the back end's going to look the same, but the front ends are going to look totally different. So the functionality is pretty much the same and standard across all the websites on the back end. You can just make it do quite a bit of things on the front end. Remind me, are you guys going to be enrolling in the Safe Site Planner? Has Stacy talked to you about that at all?
Not to my knowledge, Jeremy.
Okay. That's something that I think it's $24.95 a month in addition to the hosting. and I'm not for sure if we're hosting your site or not, but
Yes,
pretty
you are.
much, okay, great. Yeah, so it pays for one of the programmers to get in there on a monthly basis and keep WordPress up to date. We also upgrade the security settings, so there's a couple different things that prevent hackers from getting in there. And the other thing that it kind of does is it comes with 2 hours of annual updates. So, say, if you or Cindy were unavailable to make updates, or you guys had staffing changes or something like that that you wanted to get done, you could just send those over to us, and we would take care of it for you, and you would kind of use on that 2 hours. For the year. And then it also kind of provides, if the website does get hacked, that we can go in and clean it up really quickly without having it be down for any amount of time. So
it's kind of like an insurance
yeah,
policy.
yep, it is. It's kind of like a website insurance policy.
It's like $25 a month. Okay.
Yeah. So Stacy can talk to you more about that, and I can send you a link after we're done here, and we have a whole kind of write up about it. And it's not that we wouldn't be here for support anyway. If something happened and you wanted us, it got hacked, we would take care of it immediately anyway. It's just kind of provides that extra security measure that keeps it from possibly getting hacked. And the people that hack websites we have the most random websites get hacked. I don't know. I think people with a lot of time on their hands is usually what it is.
Obviously.
Yeah.
If we don't do that, when you're in the back end there, and we'll look at it here in a second in the dashboard, this yellow bar is going to pop up every so often. Usually every couple months or so you'll see it, and it's going to tell you that there's a new version of WordPress available. And when new versions come out, they usually do like security updates, so they're fixing things, the loopholes and stuff like that they found an issue with that hackers are getting in, or they've added some sort of new functionality, like maybe the way that you crop pictures has been updated, or recently they made it a lot easier to copy and paste your text out of Word, to where you could copy it right into the content box, and it would kind of bring all the stylings and all that kind of stuff with it. So it's usually good stuff that comes along with the updates. Not to say that you'd have to update it every time that you see this yellow bar, but at least once a quarter. If you don't do the safe site plan, you would want to be sure that it's updated just for security purposes. If you do the safe site plan, you never have to worry about it. We're going to get in there and update it when we see that there's one released.
Okay.
Is there a cost to that update, or is it just an update through WordPress?
So there's no cost for this update. It's just an update through WordPress. So it literally usually takes about 5 minutes, and will update. And the screen may look different. Usually it looks just slightly different, but the nuts and bolts are all the same, and it should never cost any money. The only thing that can sometimes happen is that there are plugins that do certain things. So plugins are kind of added functionality pieces to your website. One in particular that we'll look at on yours is a slideshow for the home, for the home page slider. Sometimes what happens is that the newest version of WordPress doesn't play very nicely with whatever version that the slider is. And so, kind of in the same fashion that WordPress will come out with updates, the plugins will also come out with updates, and you'll go in and update those too. And there's usually not. I don't think that there's any plugins that you guys have that should cost any money to update anytime that you update it. It's just something that you want to, when you do update it, you want to go back and make sure, hey, is all my stuff still working? Does it look like everything's the same? All those sorts of things.
Okay.
And this is kind of the number one reason why we encourage people to update it, is because we recently just had another website, a client that we built their website 4 years ago, and I don't think that they hadn't updated it, and they weren't on the safe site plan. And hacking is always a potential. It doesn't matter where you're hosted at. And the way that they got into their website was because no one had been in to update their WordPress for years. And so with that, there's always those loopholes that people find, and then it's an easy way for them to get in.
It wouldn't be the city of Columbia by chance, huh?
No, that wasn't us. I did hear about that one though.
Yeah, because they've been hit like 3 times now.
Yeah. So it is. I mean, they're a little bit bigger fish than a lot of folks, but
Right.
we heard about the Anthem one too, which was kind of a bummer because
Yeah.
a lot of people here in Columbia had that insurance.
Yep. So does Cindy.
Oh, yeah, we did up until recently, so I think we were probably compromised too. I did not get a letter though.
I haven't either yet, so
Yeah, well,
knock on wood.
I don't know if that's good news or bad. So. So the rest of the time we're just going to talk about, that's kind of like a real quick and dirty of what WordPress is and how it works. The rest of the time we're just going to talk about kind of functionality and ways to modify the site. So creating users. If you guys don't have users already, we can create some for you today. Editing the menu, adding and editing pages and posts. So we'll kind of look at the difference between those two, and then adding text, links, images, videos, and files, and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So this is the WordPress screen. This is going to be the first thing that you see before you log into the site. Everyone's got a username and a password that's attached to an email address. So pretty much you can only have, if your email is, keith@mala.org, then that will be the only, you can only have one username for that. And then that's how you'll kind of, if you ever lose your password, that's how you'll retrieve your password too, is you'll click the last of your password and you'll go through a process through that email.
That's just for us.
Yeah. And then
Okay.
the domain, where this kind of door or portal is located is always going to be yourdomain.com/wp-admin. And that the only thing that will change probably when we take your site live is the WP-admin is going to change to WP-maroon. And the only reason why we do that is because WP-admin is kind of a well-known place where the door is, and so we just change that last little bit to make it a little harder to find the door to the website for other people that don't need to know where it's at.
Right.
This is going to
turn into
WP-maroon, MAROON.
okay.
This is going to be the dashboard. So this is going to be the very first thing that you see when you log in. And pretty much it's going to have a menu on the left side that's going to have pretty much all the different pieces of the website. So it'll have your pages, it'll have your posts, it will have all of the, let me see if I can get rid of this, all of the pictures that you've uploaded, along with all the plugins and things like that. This left side is going to kind of be your main menu area. It's only going to be present when you're on the admin page, and it also kind of allows you to navigate back and forth pretty easily from one particular space to another. There's also a bar at the top, which is going to be kind of a shortcut menu, and it'll be present when you're logged in. So whether you're on the front side of the site or the back side, so you're in the dashboard or you're actually kind of on the public side of the site, it'll have this, as long as you're logged in, it'll have this little shortcut bar up at the top. And there's some things on here that allow you to get back and forth from the back side to the front side pretty easily. So where it says Tranquility Internet, yours will say Mala. And that will allow you to, if you click on that, it'll take you to the front side. If you are on the front side and you click on that, it'll take you to the back side. So it really just kind of provides an easy way to get back and forth. And kind of probably the most of the time when you're going back and forth from the front side to the back side is going to be like if you are making an update to a page or something like that and you want to see what it looks like on the front side and then go back and edit, you'll kind of use that toolbar. Will be an easy way to get back and forth.
Okay.
And we just talked about that. So this main part is going to be the dashboard, and there's always going to be a page header that will tell you what page you're on or what part of the website you're on, and it correlates to this left side menu. So if you see the dashboard's clicked and it's kind of expanded on the left side there, and it's given the little house that matches. So if you were clicked on posts, it would say post in the page header instead of dashboard. It's going to display different things on different pages. So if you're on the post page, if you're on the post section, it's going to display, maybe you have a couple posts that are set to draft that are ready to go, or maybe there's an update needed in that section. So it's going to kind of have that pertinent information that you need right at the top. In the center section is going to be different modules, and this is going to allow you to see, it's kind of going to be the page body. So all of these are going to look different too. And we'll look at here in a second, kind of, you can customize the view here. So if there's things that you're getting into and say, one of the things that you're doing on your website is adding a lot of posts, and you're adding a lot of posts to a certain category, you can kind of customize it to where you can get rid of a lot of the stuff that you don't ever use, so you don't have to look at it, and you just kind of hide it from view. It's going to have different action panels, which is going to allow you to do different functionality. And then on the back side, you'll see a lot of gray buttons, and you'll see a lot of blue buttons. And this is going to be something to write down as blue buttons are usually permanent changes. So when you're going in and you're updating a post or you're updating a page, anything like that, they usually say publish or update. And by clicking that, you're making whatever change you're making permanent to the front side of the website. The gray buttons are going to be kind of softer actions. So it may be save your draft or preview, or this one says update. So if you clicked on update, it would take you to another screen, and then it would have a blue button that says, are you sure you want to update? Kind of a deal. So you can just kind of keep in mind when you're clicking on things, the blue is permanent, gray is kind of not as permanent or just temporary.
Just like a draft or something you'd like to look at before you publish it.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll look at when we get to the pages in the post. The preview button is gray, and it allows you to see, that preview button allows you to see any changes that you've made before you make them permanent on the front side. So it's kind of an easy way to say, oh, I thought on the back side that text was going to show up like this, and it actually showed up different. So now I need to go back in and kind of adjust some stuff.
Okay.
It's going to have this screen. Options is going to appear on all of the different pages or sections that you're in on the backside. And pretty much the screen options is how you're going to either display or hide things that you use a lot or that you never use. So let's go in and look at the actual website. So this is your guys' website. I'll log out and we can log back in real quick. So we're on the front side. And obviously that your web address will change once we make it live. But still, you go to wp-admin. And it looks like we've applied some styling to your login because of the members section. So yours won't probably ever say that wp-admin. It'll always look like this.
Would you repeat that?
So kind of that screen that we looked at that said wp-admin.
Mm-hmm.
This screen right here that says login is that particular screen.
Okay.
You've just personalized it for us.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
So here's the dashboard. It's got, again, the menu on the left side with all the different pieces. It's got your button up here that's going to take you back and forth from the front to the back. If you're on the front, you click it, it'll take you to the back. The screen options portion is going to be over here, and this will be on all the different sections. But if you click this, it'll bring a little drop down, and you see how there's some are checked and some are not checked. Pretty much if you check something, it will bring in a new module. And if you uncheck something like WordPress news is something that I always uncheck because it's not needed. Quick draft usually isn't needed. And activity is kind of nice, so you can kind of see what's recently been published. That's kind of nice to see. And then at a glance is kind of nice because you can see how many posts and pages you have out there. So this is going to be per user. So Cindy, you can have a totally different looking dashboard, different modules than Keith, if that makes sense. Users, it looks like Keith's already got a user in here.
I do.
Great.
Don't add me. Nope.
No, add her. Top list.
So to add a new one, you just go to add new. What do you want your username to be, Cindy?
Does it matter? It's just
No, yeah, this is totally up.
It's going to see it, right?
Yep, you got it.
Just Cindy is fine.
And this isn't the username is not case sensitive.
Okay.
Let's see here. We'll get your email in here.
It's Cindy at malarcf.org.
You usually don't have to put in a last name either. And what would you like your password to be?
Lowercase letters. No, you need to hear it. C as in Cindy. Hag, H-A-G, 67.
C-Hag.
Oh, it's weak.
All right, and it's going to send this. It'll send you your password, and you can get in and change it. Pretty much you go in, once your password is set up, you go into users, and then you click on your screen or your name, and you can go in and edit it there. There's different user levels here. Subscriber is just someone that can get in and look at the content. They can't really change anything. There's these three in the center that kind of have abilities to draft content, but they don't have the ability to publish it. Some people have the ability to get in and publish it or edit other people's content. And then administrator has pretty much access to get in and do whatever they want to do.
Can we both be under administrator?
Yep. So we'll add her as an administrator. It's going to email you the password, and then May creates usually always an administrator just so we can get in and make this needed updates. Now, say you add someone and you want to delete them. So Cindy goes and is no longer with us, and you go in, and when you go to delete somebody, and we won't actually delete you, but it will ask you two things here. You can delete all content, or you can attribute all content to someone else. You always want to choose the second option. By attributing it to someone else, and we're in this drop down too, so if you want to, you can always attribute it back to us. Pretty much what happens is anytime that you post information or make changes to the website, WordPress records that to a certain author or to a certain user. And so if Cindy went in and made all kinds of posts, and then we went in and deleted her account and deleted all of her content, everything that she had put on there would go away too.
Oh, okay.
So be sure if you add users in the future and they're temporary, that you always attribute it to somebody else.
Okay.
Let's see here.
Want to see what my password is?
I can't actually see your password. I can change it for you if you don't know what it is.
I'm not really sure what I set it up as, honestly.
Okay, so let's go back to here. And we'll click on you. And what would you like it to be?
Do KSAP 101.
Okay. All right.
And I'm not sure if you understood mine correctly. Mine is C-HAG, not C-TAG.
Oh, HAG.
Yeah, like hag, you know.
Yeah. And what was the
Popeye.
what was the numbers after it?
Oh, 67.
I can change that real quick.
I wouldn't know it.
Oh, we would never know what that means. Yeah. Oh, I see.
Acorn probably, they get in there.
Okay. So that's pretty much users. It's pretty straightforward. You probably won't add a lot of users over the time, but it's there in case you ever need to get in and add somebody, you lose your password or whatever. We talked about
because there's only 2 of us in the office, I think that 2 of us will be all we need to put on our website.
Yeah. So we talked about adding users. Let's talk about the next kind of big piece is pages and posts, and it's kind of the main part of what makes up the website. So different things on your website are either going to be, all of the content is either going to be a page or it's going to be a post. And it could, and pretty much on the backside, the way that you input the content is going to look really similar as far as the dashboard piece of it. But the front side is what's going to look different, and pages and posts tells particular information where and how to live on the website. So pages are kind of, they can both be text, they can be images, they can be links, they can be videos, and they're all things that are kind of on the public side of the website. So posts you can think of are usually more timely information. So like blog articles are usually posts, or maybe like recent news or trainings, stuff like that's going to be posts. It's going to be more modular, meaning it can live on multiple places of the website. So we'll look at here in a second that one of the things that is a post on your guys' website is the staff and the board members. So by doing that, we can make the board members kind of live in different places of the website without having to recreate a post for each of them. And they're divided into categories. So that's kind of, when we look at your post section, you'll have a category for board members or a category for recent news. And when you go in and select those categories, that's another piece that tells that particular information where to live inside of the website. Pages are going to be like more static information. So usually the main navigation are pages. So your contact page, your home page, stuff like that usually is not going to change a whole lot. But then under that, you could have, say you have, let's look at the front side here. So like under this one, about is going to be your parent page, and then why join Mala is going to be a sub page to that, or a child page is usually what they're called.
Okay.
When you are looking at stuff, kind of a good way to tell the difference between a page and a post is that pretty much posts can live on any page, but pages can't live inside of posts. So you can think of posts as kind of smaller pieces of information. They're going to usually have a longer URL. So it'll be, mala.org/trainings/ and sometimes it'll have a date in there. You can think of it more like a kind of like a Facebook post. And then pages are going to usually have a shorter URL, so mala.org/contact. And you can think of that more like a Word document or a PowerPoint slide. So pages, they're going to usually always live in your main navigation. And then to edit posts, we will look at here in a second, because on some of your pages, you'll go into it and you'll think, okay, so on our staff page, we have all of these little staff profiles, so it would make sense that I would go to that page to edit that information. And in actuality, you'll go in and when we look at it, you'll see, okay, these aren't actually, yes, they live on that page, but they actually, when I need to go and edit the individual person, I've got to go to their post instead of that whole page. So that's a little bit confusing. Does that?
But you're not changing the shell, the form, the page.
Exactly.
You're changing the content within the page.
Yep, that's exactly right. So you have pages, and then you have subpages. So again, your parent page would be about. Your subpages would be why join Mala is kind of a good example of that. And then this is kind of just a general thing that pages usually are. So let's just go out, and this is our website, but we can actually go out and look at yours. So let's go to, I think a good page to look at that kind of has pages, and that's a page that has posts on it, was the board and committees page. So on this page, I'm on the front side of the website. It's got all these different areas on it, or different sections of members and board directors. To get to the back side, WordPress is really great about making it really easy to get the place you want to go by clicking a number of different things. So if I wanted to get to this particular page, I could click here on the edit page, and it's going to take me right back into the page. The other way that I could have done it is click on the Missouri Assisted Living Association and then navigated down to pages over here. And then I would need to find my page in this list of pages, and it would take me there. So obviously the first way was a little bit quicker. Same thing when you're on the back side. To get to the front side to see what it looks like, you can either navigate here and go to the front side and then navigate to the thing on the front side of the website, or this shortcut over here is going to be your quickest way to take you right to that page. So on this page, kind of like you said, Cindy, there's a shell that's living here, and then there's all this information that lives inside of the framework or the shell. So there are certain things that you do edit on the page in the back end. So board and committees is going to be, let me see if we can open this in a new tab and pull it here. So board and committees is going to be something that you would edit here. So if you change the title of this page, that would be something that would live right here. Let's see if we can kind of scroll down here and kind of make these things live next to each other. The other things that are in here on this particular, where you would edit it, is going to be these term expirations. So that's going to be something that you would go in, and once these change to the next year, you would go into this page, and that's where you would change that information. But say, Kathy is no longer a board member. To get in and change her information, we actually need to go to the post section. So to do that, we pretty much navigate over here on the left side. We can go to posts. You guys have quite a few items in here already as posts. It's like all your board members are living as posts. The different trainings and events are living as posts. So a quick way to do it, you can do it a couple different ways to make it easier on your life when you're trying to find a particular thing or update a particular category. Is you can select the categories that you want to see out of this drop down and then click filter, and it will give you just items that are in those particular categories. Another easy way to do it is if you know the name of something that you're looking for, you can type that in there and it'll bring up that whatever, that particular piece of information that includes that word. So you don't have to have it exactly right or anything like that. You just have to have a piece of the information or a piece of the word.
Okay.
And then to go in and update Kathy's information, you would do it here on the post. So she's region 1. It looks like that there's let's see here.
I have their current information that's out there.
Say that again, Cindy.
See right where you're at, Kathy McCreary there,
Mm-hmm.
and it says title, region 1, location, address, office number, fax number, email. Is that not already populated, or are you editing? I don't understand.
Let me get to the front in here. Board committees.
I didn't give them that information. That's why it's not in there.
So it looks like that on some of these, I think on regional board members is where it starts to change. Like on the executive committee, it's going to have these drop downs.
Oh, that's right. We only listed that information for the executive committee and not the other board members.
Yeah, so Kathy's got, it looked like, does she have 2 posts in here? Let's see.
Yeah, she's got executive committee and regional member.
Yeah, so she's got 2 in there. So you'd have
So
to
if
navigate
you went under the board member, then that information would be populated.
Mm-hmm, you got it.
Okay.
And then, I don't think on either of these they have them either.
No, we weren't going to put that for the other members.
Cool. And so kind of when we're looking at those, let's get back into just someone here.
Can I give you a name that you can put in? I mean, a new one?
Yeah.
Will it take?
Yeah, it should go just fine. We can test
it. I've got 2 new board members for the 2015 board at large.
Okay, so kind of let me show you something here real quick when we look at the difference here. Let me go into another. So depending on your categories here, your categories are located over here on the right side. This is going to, let me see here. This particular section here in the center is going to change depending on what category you have selected. So if we click on boards and committees, it's going to start to act differently. Because what we've done is we've added in some fields that should always be included on those things.
Okay.
So, but it won't, unless you select that, it won't populate those fields. So we're adding a board and committee, and then under that there's a subcategory. And we're adding a member at large, you said?
Try that one, see if that's a 2015.
Let me get on here and see. Let me get to the front here.
You have to kind of flip the front back to see where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
So this is regional board members, members at large.
I want to add to that 2015. You just passed it right there.
Yeah, okay.
Members at large expires 2015.
Okay.
So when you were on that page, you could have clicked edit page and that would have brought you to here?
No, if I clicked edit page, it would take me back into the page where I would edit the terms.
The page itself?
Yeah, so the shell of it. So I can only edit the title and the term pieces here.
So what we're doing is we're adding a post.
On a post.
Got it. Yep. So what's the person's name?
Tim Blattel, Blattel. Tim.
Oh,
T is in Tom.
Whoop.
Or Tim.
Now it's doing crazy. Okay, Tim. Okay.
Tim. And then it's a Blattle, B-L. Yep, that's it. And then, yeah, he's just going to go into 20. Wait, I don't have a picture yet, so.
It's okay. Do we have titles on these other ones? Let's see.
Region.
Nope.
No.
So we just have it. We just have their names. So
Mm-hmm.
if we go in there, we're not going to add anything else for Tim.
Hey, Jeremy, underneath Tim's name, keep going. Okay, and right in that little thing, it says Tim-Battle. Should that be changed? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's going to populate whatever the first thing that you type in there is, but you can always get in and change it. And to change it, you literally just click on it, and then change it, and then click OK. The thing to note in here is, it's going to put a little dash in between every word. So if you got a first last name, just be sure that you have a little dash in there.
Okay.
A dash for space?
Yeah. So a dash for space. You got it.
Okay.
And so we can preview this, and it won't show us what it looks like on the page. So that's not going to be too particular for this adding members. You're just probably going to want to publish it and then look to see that it's showing up in the right spot. So we just hit update or publish. So that means that it's gone to the front, and it ideally should be living where we told it to. So if we go in, let me see here. Yeah. If we go back to the front and we refresh, we now have Tim Blattle there, but you can see that because we didn't put a photo in for him, that it's like, oh, we really want a photo there. So we know that, hey, we need a photo. So to add the photo, it's going to be over here in your featured image. And we are going to need to find the photo. And this is going to be...
We don't have one of him yet.
Yeah, this is going to be one that you're going to have to... let's see. What do we have on the other ones? Member photo here. Yeah. So what I would do is I would save one of these down to your computer. Because you're not going to be able to get to it from the library to set those featured images. So once you have it on your computer or on your actual desktop, or a folder that's on your drive, you can go there and then just click on it and open, and it'll pull it into this featured image box. And then if we click update and we go back to that page and we refresh, now it'll throw them in there. I believe that, let's see here. I believe these are based, not that it would matter for you guys, but just to keep in mind that I think these are based on time posted. So it's going to put the one that you posted most recently to the front of the list.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if in the future, if you have something that you need to order, or need to have a specific order in this particular area, you can go in and change kind of, once it posts, it'll give a date to it.
Okay.
And so to edit that, let's see if it changes. Let's just take him back, and you can change this to whatever you want. You can make it go way in the past or way in the future. So we'll change that to 2014, and let's see if it moves Tim down the list. And it did not. So it's sorting some other way. I'll figure out how it's sorting so you guys know.
That's not critical by any means, but
no, yeah. Okay. So let's see here. kind of the another thing that so on posts, kind of looking at the front and the back. Let's go to a page here real quick so we can, or a training. Let's go to something other than a person. So let's go to this training. And let's see what it'll look like if we do view posts. Okay. So we've got our training here. And once you get used to it, you'll probably end up working in a couple different tabs. Like usually when I'm editing stuff, I have a tab for the front side and a tab for the back side. If you're kind of watching the top of my screen moving back and forth, it's kind of an easy way to go back and forth to see what's updating and what needs to be changed and stuff like that.
So for instance, on this page for this training, over on the right-hand side, go back to the
Edit.
Yeah. On the right-hand side, after this date, I can tell it to go away.
Yes. Yeah, you have, it's called this
like
post.
Training, and there's training dates out there, and after that date is over, I can tell it to remove itself.
Yep, so this is gonna, again, it's gonna populate certain things based on your category. So it's gonna populate on this one for the training and events. It's gonna spit out these date fields. And then also, like you said, on the right side down here, it's got your expirator. So to make it go
over on the 11th, so we can remove it on like the 12th.
Yeah, it looks like it's set to go to draft on November the 9th, 2015.
Which would make sense because the training has started.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And so pretty much what it's going to do is it'll still be available in your posts, like on the backside. You can still go in and edit it. So say you have the same event next year, all you have to do is go back in and update the information. You don't have to actually recreate it. It'll just
good.
Yep, it just pulls it from the front of the website and saves it on the back. Something else that you kind of look at on the front side here, let's get rid of some of these, is you can kind of see here that it's living in, the information's living a certain way. It's living in these two columns here. It doesn't automatically do that when you input it in. What it's doing is, so when you're on the back side, you've got two different modes here that you'll see. You've got a, let's see here. You've got a text mode that's going to show you all the different code pieces. So it's going to look a little messy. It's going to have all these different things in here that you may or may not know what it means. And then it's going to have a visual side that's going to look a little bit more like a Word document.
That's the way I like to do it because I do not know code.
Yeah. And so this is the norm. Most of the stuff you're going to do is going to live, you're going to be able to do in the visual side. There's only two things that I'm going to talk about today that you have to go into the text mode for just a second to be able to implement. But that doesn't actually have you doing anything with code. So we'll talk about that here in a second. So you can kind of see on the front side here is living in two columns, and there's a little piece of code that tells it to live in the two columns, and that is this, it's called easy columns. And it's this little column thing up here in the toolbar. And so if you go to add a new page, it is going to, and you go up to your columns, and it's got all these different options that you can have. But say you just want two, so we're going to choose the half and half, and then it's going to spit out this little piece of code, which is already here and here and here. And so what you do to make it live in the different columns is you just literally change in this piece right here. So the text that you would want to live, this would be stuff for column 1. And then you wouldn't change any of this stuff. And then here,
Yeah, that's good to know where the undo button is.
yeah, that's one of the good features that they've added this last year was the undo button, like on Word. So I think they've been trying to make it more and more kind of user friendly, like Word. But anyway, so to edit that stuff, you just edit the pieces in between the brackets, and you don't actually touch anything in the brackets.
Because the bracket is the code.
Yep, the bracket piece is the code.
Okay.
And you can see here, it'll always end with, so just to kind of look at it real quick, it's got this, easy column half, and then it tells that easy column 1/2 end. So, it's telling it that it's living in the first half, and that the first half is ending with this information. And then down here, it's got that end as well. So pretty much every time you see that end, it needs to live at the end of your information. So that'll be something that we can work on. We can practice when you guys come in, or when we do the kind of the full-on training. There's other things that are living in here that are editable other than the text. So there's different, if we look at the front side here, there's different kinds of styles for agenda and trainers and day 1. And we've got some bulleted lists here. The different text, different font, there you go, is pretty much, there are what's called heading tags that tell the font a certain way to look. And it'll tell you what that particular heading tag is in this little drop down here. So if you're curious, what does an H2 tag look like? You click on registration fees, and it's like, oh, that's an H2 tag. Paragraph's just going to be normal text. H3 tags are going to be, so kind of when you're making your pages and your posts, it's kind of an easy way to make significant information significant. And so headings and subheadings and, bold. And it's going to go, it's usually H1 through H5. And then H5 is going to be your smallest, and then H1 is going to be your most significant. So most of your page titles are going to be H1, and then kind of work their way through up to 5.
5 being the largest or the smallest? I'm sorry.
5 is the smallest. So, and it kind of this drop down is a good representation of kind of how it works.
That's the way another website thing works now too.
This toolbar is going to be pretty similar to Word. As far as your bulleted lists and your numbers, you literally just highlight the stuff, and it's really good. Like similar to the H2 tag, it'll tell you what that is, what kind of H tag you're using here. It will recognize if this is a bulleted list, it will show you that it'll highlight that particular thing. Something similar with the links. So this little chain and broken chain is going to be your link button, just like you would with an email. If you click, the links are always going to be blue and underlined when you have your cursor over them. If you click on that and put your cursor there, it's going to bring open this, highlight these two. If you click Insert Edit, it is going to bring up this little box, which you just put the URL of whatever you're putting in there in.
Okay.
Something that is kind of a good rule of thumb on PDFs. If you're putting a link to a PDF or a Word document or something like that in there, there is a little box here that says Open Link in a New Tab Window. And so there's two things that you want to open. You want to have that box checked for. Either you are linking a PDF or a Word document, so you're linking something that they are going to download or fill out, or you are linking out to another site. So if you're linking them out to our site, you want it to open in a new window or a tab. And the reason why you do that is so they don't have to navigate back to your site, number one. If they want to get back to there, they already have the window open. and then number 2, you're not taking them off your site. So they're still clocking time while they're on your site, which is good for a number of reasons.
Okay.
To add a PDF or a anything like that is going to be in this Add Media tab, and this is going to be for Word documents, PDFs, pictures, anything like that's going to live up here. And so this is drag and drop. So if you have it on your computer, you can literally just drag it into this window and drop it in, and it'll pull it in. And then once you pull it in, it's going to give you every single thing that you upload in here actually has its own URL. So if you wanted to locate just this image, you could actually type in this particular URL, and it would take you to just that image. And that kind of tells it, pretty much it uses that piece of information to tell it where to live on the website. There's a couple different things that are over here on this right side that you'll want to fill out. Usually always give your pictures a title. And I'm sure all the people have titles. One thing that you want to do, instead of calling it like picture 1, or the board filler is not such a big deal, because people aren't going to be searching for that. But if people are searching for was it Kathy McCrary, and her title in here is actually, her name's actually typed in here, it's going to come up in a Google search. So it kind of, all the more information that you can add and the more detailed you can be on the pieces of media that you're putting into the site, the better it's going to do for search results. It's going to be easier for Google to scroll through it and find information that it likes. Caption, this would be if you wanted a caption to live underneath it, it would show up there. And then alt text is if you've ever been on a website and it's got like a little broken picture that's like, oh, this picture is just not going to load for whatever reason. Maybe it doesn't like the browser, or it's expired, or whatever. This is going to be text that displays if the picture doesn't show. And then a description, I usually just copy the title unless there's like a more lengthy description that makes sense to put there. The last thing on here is going to have alignment, so you can make it live different places on the page, left, center, right, or none. None, it's just going to put it where it wants. There's also things that you can have it linked to. So none, it's just going to live on the screen. You're not going to be able to click on it and make it bigger or anything like that. You can also make it, though, to where you can make pretty much all of your pictures links. So if you wanted to make this picture a link and go out to our website, you could put a URL in that particular field. And then the last thing that it's going to have is a size dropdown. Size dropdown's kind of an easy way to keep your pictures consistent across the site. So if you always choose medium, it'll always kind of keep the pictures the same size without you having to go in and crop stuff and spend a lot of time doing that kind of stuff. Medium's kind of usually where you land. It's not huge on the screen, but it's big enough to see. It's bigger than a thumbnail you can kind of think of, like your Facebook profile picture. It's pretty small in comparison. And then once you got your picture in there, or your PDF, you insert it into post, and it'll put it there. And so since this is actually live on the website, what we want to do for this is preview, so we can see what it looks like before we actually make it live. And so we'll be able to see what it looks like, but people on the front end won't be able to see it.
Until we publish.
Until you publish, yep. Or in this case, the blue button will say update, since it's already published.
Right.
So we didn't choose an alignment, so it's just kind of floating here in the center. It's got our caption in there, and if we click on it, it'll take us to Make Create. So something that it did, though, was that it opened in the same window. And since it's taking us off the site, we want it to open in a new window. So say you've already got something on here, a picture or a link, a PDF, to make it open in a new window, you click on it, and it will tell you that it's a link. So our little link buttons will light up, and you click Insert Link, Edit Link, and we click our Open Link in a new tab window, and we hit Update there, and then we'll preview it again. And this time it should open in a new window. So if everything's the way you want it, then you would go back and you would update, and it would make it live. They just kind of recently added this as far as if you do want to change the size of it. You used to have to go in and if you click on here, you can go in and you can crop and do some different things as far as like rotating it and stuff like that. If it's just something that you literally don't need to crop but just need to make bigger or smaller, you can just now go in and find one of these little squares on the image and drag it, and it'll make it bigger or smaller without having to go in and
do pixels and all that crap.
Yep.
Ooh.
So that's pretty nice.
Yay!
So in it, just keep in mind that kind of like with anything, if you're stretching the original size of the image. So if you end up with if you start with a really small image and you try to make it really big, it's going to end up really blurry. So that all kind of stays the same. Other things on editing stuff, if you're ever in the back end here and you're like, where the heck is all of my buttons in my toolbar? Most likely this little button here called the kitchen sink button is not clicked. And if you click that, it's going to pop out all your other stuff.
Now, if you scroll down to the bottom of that page.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, we didn't want to publish that, so we're just going to delete that?
Yep, so to delete it, you just click on it, click the X, and it'll remove it.
Okay.
Something that it will do, let me see here. Again, this is going to have the screen options on here. You can see this has quite a bit more options to click on. Something that's not checked here and when you get in there, I'd recommend checking is going to be the revisions tab. Think of this like your Word autosave. It's going to have, and it usually shows up at the bottom, it's going to have different times that it's been updated, and then it'll autosave. It hasn't autosaved yet because I don't think we've done anything to it. Oh, here it says draft saved February 2nd. So I think you have to have that clicked to make sure that it's auto-saving. So just be sure that you have that checked in there when you get into your user. What else was I going to look at here? Exit field flag. Oh, I was going to show you. So these are all movable. So when you're in there and you're updating stuff, if you find that you have stuff that you never click on, or maybe you are, maybe you find it easier to have this publish thing down at the bottom because it's going to be the last thing that you always do. And you're like, sometimes when I first get started or when I'm on a website, I always forget to click the categories. And so what I found on that particular site was I found it easier to move that to the top. So that was always the first thing that I would do. So you can kind of move that around and play with it to make your life easier. I don't think there's any, it's kind of a custom, like a personal preference thing. A couple more things about this. Let me get it up here. about this publish box. There's 3 different buttons in here, or 3 different items. Status is going to be, publish is going to say, it means public to the world. Pending review, so I don't know, do you guys have any users inputting information? Or like, do your members, are they, I don't think you guys do on your site.
No.
No.
So you won't ever use that. But say that you had something that didn't have a post expirator on it that would pull it back to draft. You can always go in and set this back to draft and then update, and it'll pull it off of the front side. This visibility is going to be public, password protected, or private. So your password protected content, I think, is where your members only section's living. So people have to have a password to get into that particular section. And then private is you actually have to have the link to get to it. So it doesn't actually make it doesn't. There's no way to access it from the front side of the site. It would be something like, maybe a private confidential document that you would send through an email that you would want someone to go out to the site to get. You could put it in a private page, and only people that had that link would be able to get to that particular information. And then
Newsletter?
Yeah, if your newsletter, if you didn't want people to click on your newsletter. Newsletters, though, you may or may not want that public, I think.
I was just thinking of what that might be, but
I can't
probably
think of my
nothing.
head, really, anything we would use that for, but it's okay to have that option.
Yeah. And then your revisions is going to live here too. And if you click browse, it's going to bring you to this particular page, which looks kind of crazy because it's got all the code in it. But it's got this cursor up here to where you can go back a month or 2 months, or probably won't get into that because it's got all the code stuff in there. So the easiest thing to do is going to be to look at this revisions tab down here. And then again, if you're seeing code, just be sure that you click the visual mode, and it'll bring you back into here. Questions on adding content or pictures and stuff like that?
Not now. I can't guarantee that.
I'm a hands-on guy,
Yeah.
and very cool. So yeah, webinars they're good, but
Yeah.
until I start doing it myself, yeah.
Cool.
Can I ask what move to trash means next to the update button?
So it will move to trash. So you click that, and if we go over here into post under the main screen, you've got publish, and you've got draft, and then you don't actually have anything in the trash. So and we will make this private, and we'll publish it. And so if we move this to the trash, it's going to be visible. It's just a temporary trash can, so it's not going to delete it permanently off the site. It's going to show up here in this trash.
Okay.
So it's another category kind of this overall overview for the posts. And then once you're in here, you can delete it permanently, which will take it off. It's kind of like the recycle bin on your desktop.
Okay.
So if it's something that we don't think we'll use anymore, we can just send it to the trash, but after we send it to the trash, we say, we'll just keep it there for a couple months.
Yeah.
And if we need to retrieve it, we can get it. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, what it really does is it takes it out of this some people've got 1,000 posts on their website, and so it gets really cumbersome to navigate through those. So it kind of cleans up your overview here to move some stuff over there.
I don't like your folders.
Yep.
Your main folders and then your subfolders and.
Yep, you got it. Another thing about posts, we looked at the categories. There's actually a categories section that you can get into. that's going to give you an overview. So say you need to add a new category, this is where you would add that category. And the only thing that you're going to do is give it a name of whatever it is. You don't need to add a slug. But if it's something that lives underneath another category, so kind of like your office personnel and your members at large are all living under board and committees, then you select something out of this drop down to make it live under there. And you just hit add new category, and it will move it over here into this list. And it'll even tell you how many people or how many posts that you have in those particular categories. And then if you want to delete a category, you just go in here and delete. And this will delete it. There's no trash can for the categories. It's either there or it's deleted.
Okay.
Let's see here. The only other, there's a few more things that we'll talk about. One is going to be, so most of your media is going to live in this media tab here. You'll see that there's a number of different pictures for Ross.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why there is a couple different pictures in there is because you can only tell, so each picture's got a URL attached to it. And you can only tell, so if I make that picture a certain size or put it in a certain post a certain way, it's kind of attached to that size and to that location. And so if I want it to live somewhere else on the site at a different size, then I need another picture entirely to make it live differently. Does that make sense?
No.
No,
No.
not
Okay.
really.
So let's go and find some pictures of Ross.
Okay, yeah, that's right. He's on the executive board, but then he's also like at large, I think.
Yeah, so he's got a picture here.
Right.
And then he's got a picture down here.
Right.
And these pictures are different sizes. So this picture is a different size than this picture.
Okay.
And so in your media library, he's got two different pictures here, and you can even click on it and see this picture is this dimension. And if we go to this other picture here, it's different. Let's see here. 373, 302. 93, 302. So Ross photo 2, Ross photo 3. So because he's living in two different places, he's got to have two different pictures there because they're living in.
Like Jody up there, the one right above him.
Yeah, because they're living in. Yeah, because they're living in two different posts. We've got the post. We've got this post here. That's Ross on the executive committee, and then we've got another post down here that's Ross as a member at large.
Okay. So you can't use the same picture for two different posts, is what you're saying.
Right.
What if you were to save, if you had a picture and you saved it as, to say something that, Ross 1, Ross 2, save it that way. Could you use it that way?
So you've got the same picture, and but you've got two different. You've got the same picture, but saved twice, right?
Two different names for the photos, for the same photo.
Yeah, that's how I think that's how this is actually in here. So this one is called Ross 3.
I only see one picture of Ross, so obviously, yeah, she saved it.
Ross 3.
Yeah.
3 different times.
Ross 2, yeah.
And then just Ross.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't do that.
Okay.
Similar for her too.
But we can't just have one picture. Yeah, we can't have just one picture
with the
one name.
Unless if they're not in two different places.
Yeah.
If they're in two different places, you have to have different names.
You have to save it as a different. Yeah, each one is a different name. Okay.
Cool. So all your stuff's going to live in there. You can sort it by images, or let's see here. I guess the easiest way to do your PDFs would just be to type in .pdf if you only wanted to bring up PDFs. Maybe just PDF. No. I guess you're going to have to find the actual title to the PDF to bring it up.
So that's everything.
This is going to be
And
everything.
you can't pull them into different folders, so like with the different conferences, I could call one, S15 conference, and then pull all of my PDFs under that, or
no, unfortunately it's one large library. So probably the easiest way to navigate through that's just going to be to search your stuff out. You can do it by upload date. Is one way that you could sort it if you were filtering by month.
Well, of course, I guess we can always go in and delete any old ones out. That way we're just not having to.
Yeah, and you can.
In there too.
And when you're uploading stuff, say you have a folder of images that you want to upload, you can pull a folder. So like, if I wanted to pull this entire folder into here, I could do that, and it would pull in all the images in that folder. But when you get it when it becomes part of the library, it's not going to stay in that folder. It's just going to be in the large library.
It's going to spread it all out, the different ones.
Right.
It's not going to be it's not going to stay within that folder.
Correct.
It's going to empty that folder out.
Yep.
Let me send the folder in there. Okay.
The only other thing that the images that are on your slideshow on your homepage are not living in the media library. They are living in this slides section.
Okay.
And so you can, you think you've only got the one slideshow, so if you click Add New, you pretty much give it a, this is going to be the dimensions that you're going to want to try to make it, or at least somewhat close to those proportions. So 1400 wide by 425 tall pixels. If you get it a little bit bigger than that, it'll be fine. If you get it smaller than that, it'll make white space around the photo. And then similar to the categories, you're going to want to select Home, which is going to put it on the home page slideshow. And you just click Publish, and it'll put it up there. So if we go in and we look at this one, we can delete that. Move it to the trash. So it's got the home in there. It's got the post expirator on here, but I don't know. I'll look in to see if that happens. But normally we have clients go in and change it manually to pull stuff off. But if you wanted to try it, we could always make it like expire on the 21st, on April 21st.
And what's our if it goes away and we haven't put anything else out there, is there a what would you call it?
Like a stock image or something that would go there?
Stock image, yeah.
There, I don't know. I'll have to talk to Stacy to see if like we have another image that's supposed to go there. You can add in any image you want in that particular spot. So if it's just something out of your media library that you think is representative, you can put that in there. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like conferences or anything like that, I don't think. Your title, whatever you title it, it's going to show up here. So
we could schedule that to go away and then schedule a draft to go back in there,
Yeah. So that was definitely something that we on any new stuff, whether it's
go
a page.
away, then we could prepare ourselves for something to replace it at, like, you know, a few minutes after that.
Yep, you got it. And that's something that's going to be for pages, posts, and this kind of stuff, which we didn't talk about on posts, but that's something that, you know, if you guys have a time during your week that you plan on working on stuff, the scheduling feature is pretty handy to just go, it'll say publish immediately, or if you go in here and change the date to something in the future and hit publish, it'll, you know, publish it out to where you can work on it in chunks and then not have to be in there every day to get stuff updated.
Okay.
Let me jump back over here and see. Do you ever see yourself embedding videos or like PowerPoints?
Possibly.
Possibly, yeah, especially PowerPoints.
Okay.
PowerPoint, or possibly, yeah.
So
I actually made some of our photos from one of our conferences. I made that a PowerPoint where they could click on that and it would slide through the photos of our conference.
So there's going to be two different ways. I don't know if you're familiar with SlideShare. It's called slideshare.net. And it's kind of a cool, it's a search engine, kind of like YouTube's a search engine, but what people put up in here is PowerPoint presentations or PDFs, and it creates little interactive pieces out of them. So let me see, let me find, I may create one. And it's totally free, so you don't have to, you have to create an account like you would on YouTube, but then you pretty much just upload stuff and it'll ask you what to upload. The cool part about it is that, like on your PowerPoint, if you just embed a PowerPoint regular into WordPress, it'll make them download it, and then it'll make them open it in PowerPoint. This allows them to actually see it on the screen. So you're on SlideShare, you've got your presentation uploaded, and then you want to embed it is what you want to do. And you'll click here, and it'll give you a few different options. And what we want is the embed code. And so if you click on that and just copy, and we're not working on that, we're not working on that, we're not working on that. And so this is one of the things, like I said earlier, you have to be in text mode to paste that embed code in. If you're in visual mode, it's just going to look like code. So if you go out and you go into text mode and you paste it in, and then you click back over to visual, it'll give you this little play box, which kind of lets you know, hey, it's working. And then if you do a preview of that, it makes an interactive PowerPoint on here.
Mm-hmm.
So people, it works really well to keep people on your site if they're going to be clicking through stuff, especially like images of a trade show or something like that, or a training. And you can make this a lot bigger too. So you can make it pretty big and pretty small. So the other thing that you can do.
You have to create a new page for that, or can you just?
No, that can be on. That can. This can go in any exist. It can go on any page or post that you already have. So. But you can
make a new page for it specifically.
Definitely.
Like if it was a PowerPoint for training.
Training, right.
Mm-hmm. And then you could, if you wanted to, send that in emails, you could give them this URL, and it would take them to the training page.
Through our website.
Yep.
We put together a slideshow or a PowerPoint presentation on how to do proper paperwork for level 1 med aid.
Amen.
Send that link to them and say, here you go, here's your PowerPoint, here's your spoon, here's your sign.
Yeah.
Turn it off.
Too funny.
Sure.
YouTube videos are going to be exactly the same way. So let's just go and pull a YouTube video off of here.
Well, what you pull off of YouTube there.
Well, we've got a channel on here, so it should be pretty safe. Hopefully, there's nothing too hairy on our channel, but you never know. Let's see.
What we have.
And I think this one is under more. What is it under? Share, I bet. Yeah. So share. Got your similar to the SlideShare stuff. You've got your stuff uploaded. You go to embed. It's going to give you this code again. Copy it, and I'll put it in there. And I, of course, am not in the right mode. Go back over to text. And now we go back over to visual. That's kind of how you know it works. Preview. And it'll play right there in the side of the site.
That's very helpful. I like that.
So that's going to be awesome for training too. If you can, if you record your stuff and need to literally show someone how to click around, then you can, record that and put it up on the website. And it, if you had someone that sat there and watched the whole video, you're having someone clock time on your website instead of taking them out to YouTube and clocking time on YouTube's website, which is going to help, SEO and all kinds of good stuff. So that's pretty much all I had for today. Now that you both have logins, I think Stacy will probably catch up with you here later this week on next steps, but you might get in and play with some stuff. And as you're in there kind of doing your hands-on thing, making updates, maybe go in and try to add that other board member, take down vacancies if there's some vacancies, just kind of get the website, we're at the place now where we're making final tweaks to get the website ready to push live. And then kind of when you're in there making your hands-on stuff, that would be the time to kind of jot down any questions that you'd have on particular things that you'd like to do that you can't seem to get right, or maybe you're positive that something should be doing something and it's not. We have that, so we're working out any sort of kinks before we actually take it live is kind of the goal.
Very silly question, but what's the first step of getting into it again?
Yep. So you would go to right now. It's going to be located at
your domain. No.
Yeah, mala.mayecreate.com/WP-admin. Do you want me to? I can actually email this to you if that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Sure. That way I can
both of us
pull that up.
And that's on its way. Cool.
All right. Great.
Appreciate you hanging out with me, and we will. I think Stacey will get back with you here by the end of the week, and we'll kind of move forward from there.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yep. Have a good rest of the day.
You too.